Hi, I'm Ellis George, play Courtney Woods, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast.
The tangents as we continue all the way to episode number 53 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. I think we're going to start this day with a nice cup of tea, and we're going to go slap Wonder Woman in the face. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week by going around the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Belvedere.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
This is Mitch in Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We're all here.
Hello.
Yay.
Are we surviving?
It's been a emotional, feels-filled weekend.
Yeah.
Oh.
And more will probably come because more interviews and stuff will sort of start trickling out. So
it's not over yet because of the time difference. So
true.
Stuff is still happening.
Oh, there were interviews from last year that came out in like August and September.
Yeah.
Like some people just sat on that stuff. So it's just gonna be a slow drip.
We're gonna be scratching the surface of this for this week, but we will get to that. Surprise! We'll get to Fandom Christmas here in a second, but we do have, surprisingly enough, a little bit of news that's not from San Diego. Just a little bit. Some people they just couldn't hold it in, and they had to make announcements prematurely, I guess. So first off, from Marvel, they have cast Elektra for season 2 of Daredevil, which she was alluded to in Elektra when Matt mentions a Greek girl that things didn't work out with. Apparently, it is indeed Elektra, and they have cast actress. I'm gonna so butcher her name. I'm sorry. Elodie Young. Apparently, she was in G.I. Joe Retaliation, which I never saw. But if you're familiar with Daredevil or you saw the movies, you know that Elektra is kind of a tough gal with some moves. So they. It should be interesting to see those two together on screen. So, and this is coming on the heels of them announcing that the Punisher is also going to be on Daredevil for the upcoming season, and that he will be played by John Bernthal from The Walking Dead. So, coming soon to
Daredevil
Netflix near you.
Keeping up.
Yes. So. I don't know.
Some of us are still working our way through season 1, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I prefer it that way.
Yep. You gotta do something before our other stuff comes back, so.
Yes.
Should be exciting to see some of the more familiar faces from the Daredevil universe make their appearances. And I won't say anything else in fear of spoilers for those of you that have not finished it yet. So.
Getting there.
Yes.
Anyway.
Anywho's.
Moving on?
Yep.
Yeah.
Alright. In the Star Wars universe, there's going to be a Han Solo spin-off movie.
Which is more that's all you really need to know.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
There's a
that's one of those
blurb, but
things
I
that's
don't
like,
think I get to read the blurb.
No, not really.
We'll link to the article and you can read it yourself.
Yeah.
But also,
and just
there's going to be a Han Solo spin-off Star Wars spin-off movie.
Mm-hmm.
I have two thoughts about this, and both are very profound. Squee and don't screw this up.
Yeah.
Those are my two thoughts.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. It's been one of those ones when Disney first announced that they were going to make more Star Wars movies, and there were also going to be these spin-offs for certain characters, and a lot of people right off the bat were like, Han Solo, Han Solo, Han Solo, Han Solo. We need a Han Solo origin story. We need to see that.
Oh, yeah,
We're gonna get one.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Yay, good
it's
job.
going to be an
Melissa.
anthology film.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, presumably that's like different stages of his life kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Pre and probably during the original trilogy.
because if my fuzzy memory serves, they did 2 Han Solo trilogies that dealt with his younger years before he joined up with the
Yeah. I guess if you read the books and all that they delve into at least somewhat of where Han came from and all that, and Chauncey knows all that.
There's so many. Yeah, there's so many Star Wars books that it's like, of course, it's back there somewhere, but
Yeah.
to see it on screen will be very cool. And we were talking about like who would they cast, and it's like, well, depending on who, like how young they go with Han Solo, and what stage of his life do they go? Like, they're going to go back as far as like when they did with Anakin in the prequels. Like, are they going to go like really young, or I would think like teenage at least, something like that. But as long as they don't cast Shia LaBeouf, yeah, that's what I call him because he's such a. Anyway.
Yeah.
These are conversations my boyfriend and I have had about certain things. So that was one of our conversations this week, is about the Han Solo origin movie, and we were just like, depending on how young he is or how far back they go, but just not Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Although Chris Pratt, maybe, but I kind of like maybe Chris Pratt might be a little too old.
Yeah.
But, this is just us speculating. That's all.
Mhm.
Well, Chris Pratt could probably pull off a 20-something Han Solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't know. Would it be too close to Star-Lord, though?
True.
Yeah.
I don't know. We will see. We will
We
see.
will.
Going back to the
After
executive.
seeing the I know this is like a different thing, but after seeing the trailer for Episode 7 or the behind-the-scenes thing, I'm like, I think they get it now. I think they understand what the Star Wars universe needs, but we'll get to that because that's later in the show.
Yeah.
So I'll bring that up later.
Yeah.
Yay, more Star Wars.
Yay, more Star Wars.
Alright. Moving on?
Yep.
Moving on.
Alright. Now going over to Once Upon a Time Land. I don't know. And they've...
The Enchanted Forest.
Yes.
Yes. And they cast a few characters to play some legendary people. I'm gonna pronounce his name wrong. Liam Garrigan. Right, I don't know. I've never.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Garrigan.
Garrigan.
Yep.
Yeah. 24 Live Another Day would play King Arthur, and Joanna Metras from The Man from U.N.C.L.E. would play Guinevere. Lawyer Knight Percival would be played by Andrew Jenkins, who's in Stormworld, and Wizard Merlin is played by Elliot Knight, who's been in Sinbad and How to Get Away with Murder. We still don't not exactly sure exactly how they're gonna play. All these characters are gonna play their roles, but I'm intrigued, at least.
Well, yeah, and we'll get to that when we talk about Once Upon a Time at Comic-Con, because there is some other stuff
Mm-hmm.
going on that they can't tell us.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
Mhm.
It's just the nature of scheduling. But anyway.
Yep.
And then just to round it all out, there was a little bit of Salt Lake Comic-Con news. Christopher Gorham will be at Salt Lake Comic-Con. If you don't know who that is or don't recognize the name off the bat, he was Walsh in Once Upon a Time, also known as the Wizard of Oz. So he was Emma's boyfriend in the missing year and was sent to keep an eye on Emma and make sure she doesn't get back to Storybrooke. And then he died. But yeah, he was the one that proposed to Emma. And he's been in a bunch of other things. He's been in Ugly Betty, which I haven't watched, but that's just...
And then he was...
This is just what they've been listing. Covert Affairs.
Yep. As Augie for, I think it was 5 seasons.
Yeah. And then another movie that has local connections is The Other Side of Heaven, which is kind of a big thing around here. So people in Utah like it. And then Throne of Atlantis. I don't know what this is. Looks like a Flash DC thing. It looks like he was a voice actor. But anyway, I know him from Once Upon a Time. My sister was like, "Look who's coming!" And she had it posted on my Facebook. And I was like, "Yep, I saw that." So that gives us 2 Once Upon a Time guests. So we'll see how that goes. Although they've been teasing another Doctor Who guest may be coming. And my money's on Arthur Darvill, but I will refrain from speculating any further. They keep saying that there's big guests, like big names coming. So we'll see.
Yep. You still have lots of time before the convention.
Oh yes.
So.
That's it. It's September.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited for. I have my tickets and my wristband sitting up here, and I'm just like, I'm excited. And I also know, and I'm going to cosplay. I decided I'm going to cosplay River Song because I have her. I have an outfit I put together a couple years ago from Impossible Astronaut because I've got the curly hair. I can do River Song.
Nice.
I just need the outfit, and I've got. And I even have a little cap gun that goes with it, and I'm so excited. I might get some better cowboy boots though. But anyway.
Yeah. Yay!
Yay! Hooray!
Yep. And speaking of Star Wars, we did a little discussion after recording last week, and I did the math, and by math I mean I counted the weeks on the calendar, and we've come to the decision that Star Wars with Friends is going to begin Saturday, September 26th, and we will go every other week, and that will have us ending on December 5th, so a little under 2 weeks before episode 7 is supposed to come out. And that also skips over like the week of Thanksgiving, so people don't have to worry about missing it because they're traveling to visit with family and all that. And we are going to do it in chronological order, not release order. So we're going to start with episode 1 and go through to episode 6.
Probably a good idea.
Yep.
Get the prequels out of the way.
Yeah, really. Because the story gets better as they go along.
Yes, that is true.
Yes.
That actually is true because Attack of the Clones is okay. Revenge of the Sith is pretty good. It's just Phantom Menace, just getting that out of the way is like ugh.
Yeah.
And then even the original trilogy gets progressively better. Although some people argue that Return of the Jedi is not as good as Empire, but that's just because Empire is Empire.
Right.
And it is just that good.
Yeah. But
and honestly,
yeah.
I don't mind Ewoks. I like Ewoks.
Yeah.
Of course, I was 12 when I
yeah.
Ewoks. They
Well,
were cute.
It also it makes sense story wise as well.
And
so.
We're watching episode 2 this Saturday before Canadian Thanksgiving.
Woohoo! Thanksgiving for everyone.
It's not mixing Thanksgiving weekend up here.
Well, I'm sorry, but
No.
I'm American and my calendar only tells me the American holidays.
But as long as it's the Saturday before, because we're doing it every other week,
Right.
so it's okay.
Yeah. And we'll figure out what
The
time.
Canadian Thanksgiving is on a Monday.
Well, then there you go. And we'll figure out
Like
the
2 days before Thanksgiving.
you Canadians and your holidays. And we'll also figure out we'll figure out the
Rachel,
the start.
we have Tim Hortons.
I know.
You know what?
Stop rubbing it
It's a
in.
fair trade-off. It's all a trade-off. Just get 'em.
I had lunch with my uncle yesterday, and he lives in Michigan, right outside of Detroit. And he's like, "Yeah, I have Tim Hortons, like right near my house." I'm like, "Bite me." His wife stops by Tim Hortons on her way to work every day. I'm like, "Bite me."
And he didn't bring you any.
I know.
How
Yeah.
rude.
Anyway, we will we'll figure out the start time, the press play time for Star Wars or Friends, because it being Saturday nights, we also have another show that we'll be back by then. So,
Yeah, that's true.
but we will figure that, and we'll put once we figure it out, we'll put the schedule up on the page, just like we did with Marvel with Friends. So get your copies ready. Based on the poll, most everyone has the theatrical cut of pretty much everything, but really, if you don't want to go buy new versions, just watch whatever version you have. And if you have like an extended cut where your timing's just going to be off from everyone else, sorry.
Not like timing gets skewed on Friday Night Who anyway.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's like we just sort of deal with it.
Stuff freezes, stuff
It's just
skips.
the nature.
Devices shut down. So
It's the nature of what we have to deal with. Like if you're watching on Netflix and all of a sudden your internet cuts out for whatever reason, or if you're watching on Hulu and you have ads, we deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
We just roll with it.
Yeah.
It's how we go.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, yay, Star Wars.
Yay!
That's exciting. So, moving on to the topic at hand, Fandom Christmas. My Twitter feed is not recovered.
Or as I like to call it, drinking from the fire hose. Because holy crap!
Yes, I would have my Twitter feed open in a tab on my browser, and I would just have the feed #SDCC, and the tweets would come in like 20, 30 at a time. And by the time it took me to scroll down and even just skim through, not even really read, but just skim through the tweets and then get back to the top, there'd be like another 50.
Yeah.
If I looked away more than like 2 minutes, it'd be in the thousands. Really?
Yeah. Which is why I'm like, you know what? I'm content to let it all just sort of sort itself through in the news cycle, and I'll pick out the things I want to hear about, because there's some stuff. I mean, there was like one moment from, I guess there was a Breaking Bad panel where the main guy, I don't watch Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
He made a joke, and it was like kind of funny, and it made it on Facebook, and I was like, oh yeah, that is funny, but the rest of it I didn't care about.
Yeah.
But stuff like what we're going to talk about here, I'm like, yes, I am interested in pretty much all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say most, but I'm like, no, I have interest in all of this.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So.
And as
Yay.
much as fun as it was to watch things come through the Twitter feed, and I told Chauncey this, it's like I'd have the Twitter feed open, and probably 90% of the tweets coming through were people actually tweeting from San Diego, but a good 10% were people just tweeting about how mad or sad they were that they weren't at San Diego.
I'm glad to not be there, honestly. It's just me. I would totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I go to Salt Lake Comic Con, and that's plenty for me.
San Diego's low
Yeah.
on the list of cons I want to go to just because it's so
Big.
massive. Like, I like
It
conventions.
is.
I don't want to tackle San Diego. Like, I'd much prefer the more family atmosphere of, like, say, Galley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like,
And
Fan Expo's
And I
plenty
like-
big. Like, Fan Expo Canada is the third largest convention after San Diego and New York Comic Cons.
yeah.
And that's big enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, like Salt Lake Comic Con, just as an example. You get people that are like, okay, maybe they're not in things right now, but then you get to talk to them more, because like if I'll take Once Upon a Time, for example. Like, you just sort of line you up, and they have the cast just there, and they just sign, and they don't really get to talk to people. Like, maybe you'll get a chance to get a selfie with Colin O'Donoghue, because he's just that goofy, and that would be cool. But it's like you don't really even get to say hi to him. It's just like, okay, push you through the line and stuff. And you know what? The panels and stuff, they get put up on YouTube anyway. So I'm like, and I don't need the exclusives. I'm not a big collector. I mean, there's certain things I'm like, okay, yeah, some of the Funko Pop finals, like, again, Once Upon a Time, I need my Captain Swan Funko Pops, but that's all I want.
Mm.
I need Emma, and I need Hook, and I'm like, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's...
He just tweeted a picture of him with, like, two other guys from Heroes Reborn just, like, in a pile. Like, saying, it's been a long weekend for Heroes Reborn at San Diego Comic Con.
Yeah.
I know, and you see all those things anyway, like the little clip that Rachel posted on our Facebook page with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter cast. I mean, you were at San Diego, you wouldn't see that live,
No.
because they're off sequestered in their in their green room, hotel room, wherever they're doing this stuff. So it's like they're there, and they do this stuff
Haley
anyway. So
Atwell's
it's
been
like,
doing a lot of, like, those singing video
Yeah. And
the lift up things.
Yeah.
with the guy who plays Jarvis, and then there was one of, like, her and Jarvis against, like, Clark Gregg and what's her name plays Sky.
Yeah, Chloe Bennett.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chloe Bennett.
I forgot her name, sorry. But yeah, it was, and they were
That's
like
okay.
singing back and forth on Bad Blood. It was like,
See, and I guess you would see it if you like, even if you went to San Diego, you probably would see it eventually, but it wouldn't be. It just kind of feels
it
like
wouldn't be any different.
it's like a whole. It's like this whole worldwide fandom, honestly, because you like we're all at the convention in some way,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's from our Twitter feed or Facebook posts or YouTube links, whatever. So anyway, so I ain't even mad that I'm not in San Diego.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine not being there.
It's so big that I think I would only go if I was like Chris Hardwick and I had access to everything everywhere. It was like VIP,
Yeah.
front of the line everywhere. If I could get the Chris Hardwick experience, then I would go.
Smith was there.
So.
I saw Matt Smith was there yesterday for a panel, and I'm like, Matt.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
like if I had gone this year, I probably would have ended up at that panel.
Yeah. It's like not even just like I was looking at the schedule, and there's Hall H, which is the be all to end all. Those are the big panels, and then there's Ballroom 20, which is like the slightly smaller version of Hall H, whereas you also get some of the big names, but not necessarily like big. But then there's actual like other panels going on, like cosplay panels and other smaller TV shows, like SpongeBob SquarePants had a small panel, and it's like, so it's like there are other panels going on besides the big ones. But for those people that want to go to the big ones, they're stuck standing in line for Hall H for 2 months.
They're camping out there.
And don't get to do anything else in it. I think it would suck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would have loved,
agree.
there would have been a part of me that's like, yes, I'm going to camp out for the Doctor Who panel. But at the same time, I'm like, there's a bunch of tiny other little panels that I'd like to see.
Yeah. And then if you don't get in, it's like you've spent all that time for nothing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So when you could have watched it from your computer.
Yeah.
Anyway, this isn't what we're here to talk about.
No, we're here to talk. Speaking of those panels,
let's talk about what actually was said at these panels.
Yes. Yeah. And we are just we're gonna. These are not really in any particular order, other than just how they got written down as I was trying to keep up with everything that was going on. So.
Fair enough.
It's about as chaotic as San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, even just trying to like if I knew a panel went on, then I'm trying to find the website that has the write-up and maybe some video, or if there were promos, they posted the promo for that show. So I'm like, thank goodness for the Nerdist and comicbook.com and IO9 for doing all the legwork for me. So there's a lot of bouncing around between websites, getting links and notes and everything.
They report and we squeak.
Exactly. They report and then we just regurgitate it.
And I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
first
I guess we'll just start off at the top of the list and go down.
Exactly. So starting off with The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. Which was, surprisingly enough, moderated by Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, I saw a lot of promotional stuff, because Conan was going to be at Comic-Con. I'm like, maybe is he the new version of Craig Ferguson or something? I don't know.
I think it's because he doesn't know what a lot of this stuff is, and it makes it very awkward, and therefore funny.
It must be, but I just
apparently with the Hunger Games panel, he introduced himself. He's like, I'm Conan O'Brien. I was not in the Hunger Games. No kidding.
We know.
Yeah.
Deranged ginger.
Yeah. So, let's see. The panel consisted of Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, Liam Hemsworth, Willow Shields, director Francis Lawrence, and producer Nina Jacobson. So pretty much your main cast for the most part. And we didn't get a trailer per se. We got a little teaser type thingy-ish. But then we got the images of Katniss in this red leather type getup. And it's been spoofed several times. My favorite one is Deadpool sitting on the chair on the throne.
I saw the Deadpool thing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering why they chose red, because red is not, I guess, fire, but it's really hasn't been a color associated with the Hunger Games. The books are, the first one's black, the second one's kind of this orange reddish color, but not that red, and then the third one's blue. Black just sort of makes sense to me. Now she's in red. Okay, I mean, I'm not complaining, I'm just commenting on it's an interesting choice.
I wonder if it's supposed to be a stark contrast to the white of the Capitol and President Snow.
It could be.
Because what
President Snow always sends her white roses and she gags on the smell.
Yeah. It's what would taint Snow the most? And it would be red. So that and this whole thing, the little teaser thing we got was pretty much just Katniss standing and looking all leader-esque and it's prepare for a message from District 13. So it's to make her stand out, I guess.
Yeah. Well, there was that promo where everybody is stomp the yard in their District 13 white outfits, and then here comes Katniss all a cross between the Emperor and Voldemort almost, and she's like got this big long billowy cape behind her, and the sea parts. Everybody kind of, I don't know. I'm intrigued by this, but at the same time, I'm kind of got this skeptical eyebrow raised. I'm like, what is going on? And maybe it's meant to be over the top and silly because of what happens at the tail end of the story.
Maybe
because the first part of this one was about of Mockingjay is about getting the rebellion started, and now the rebellion is in full on. Yay, we're kicking the Capitol's butt. And, District 13 rocks and they're wonderful, but then you find out that the leader of District 13 is, not any better.
Yeah.
So
Spoilers!
Maybe spoilers. You know what? The book's been out for how long?
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I'm still going to go see it. I'm reserving judgment. I'm just kind of...
Mm-hmm.
because I was impressed with the promotional stuff for Mockingjay Part 1. Once for Mockingjay Part 2, I'm just kind of like, okay, maybe this is what happens when you go out of control over the top. And maybe that's the commentary. Maybe that's just the commentary I'm choosing to see in it.
Maybe
I'm a little more cynical. I don't know. Either way, Yay Mockingjay. Although I did just barely see a little blurb because... what's his face? Well, they all were on Conan O'Brien's show, talking about it, and I guess Josh Hutcherson accidentally hinted at something he should not have, and they're kind of speculating that it means that there's going to be more Hunger Games, possibly, movies, and I'm just like, I don't know how, but okay.
Yeah.
So, if that comes to pass, we'll talk about it, but until then,
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
And stay tuned for the full trailer at some point. I guess they did show they did show the full length trailer at the panel, but it has not been released to the public as of yet, which is unusual considering that last year they had the panel and almost immediately it was all up on the internet, the trailer from Part 1, so I don't know what the delay is.
Yeah, it'll be out at some point.
Oh, yeah.
So, yay, Hunger Games.
Yay. All right, moving on to the first moment my heart decided, and I almost died of squeak, the Doctor Who panel.
Yay!
Yay!
Which that was on, the first day, wasn't it?
Yes.
Thursday?
Yeah, it was. So
I saw so many pictures of.
Yeah, I had trouble controlling myself after this panel. So.
Oh, it was. I finally got to watch the whole thing. It was wonderful.
Oh, it's one of the few panels.
Much enjoyed it.
It's one of the few panels so far that the full video is out there, so you can watch it. But it was moderated by Chris Hardwick from The Nerdist, which thankfully, Chris is a huge Doctor Who fan, so he was a good person to moderate this, unlike Conan O'Brien with the Hunger Games.
And he did well with some of the audience Q&A, because I will admit, any panel I watch from one of these, when they get to the audience Q&A, I get a little cringy because I'm just so, don't embarrass yourself. Don't embarrass us, please.
Well, I guess at San Diego, they pre-screen. If you get in line to ask a question, they ask you what you're going to ask first. And I guess if they don't like it, then sorry, you gotta go sit down.
I can understand that, because there's some freaky crap that could get through if they didn't do that.
Yeah.
So, so I'm glad they do that.
Yeah.
But there were a couple of things where Chris Hardwick kind of had to deflect, and he did a very good job of doing so. And I can't remember what they were off the top of my head, because I blocked them from my mind, because I was just secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah.
But no, this panel was really good. It was cool because, a lot has been made about, this is Peter Capaldi's first time going to Comic-Con, and he's really excited, and they asked it, or he said because when they first got there, their handlers kind of said, stay in the hotel, don't go out on the street, and because you're get mobbed, and Peter's like, but it's Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I want to go. And I guess maybe he did go out and wander around, and then people realized who he was, but he just loved it. Like, he just loved talking to all the people. And he's got that personality and that, you know, that feel of, you know, this like Doctor Who belongs to all of us, and he's just sort of the caretaker at this point of the show and of the character. So you just feel all that love and good vibes and happy, fuzzy, warm, whatever. And so you could just tell how thrilled he is, and that sort of permeated through the rest of the cast as they were talking about things. And even Michelle Gomez, she was a riot.
Oh, my goodness. She is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Obviously, Michelle Gomez, she's not crazy like the Master, but she still has a little bit of a wink and a nod fun with this is her character is bat crap crazy. She kind of reminds me a little bit of Rebecca Mader in that from Once Upon a Time, The Wicked Witch, in that regard, which I just thoroughly enjoy watching. And I love some of the stuff that Stephen Moffat said. I guess we should call him Stephen.
Yes.
And not Moffat. That was so funny. And just, I loved it.
I still refer to him as Moffat even after watching that. I've always referred to him as Moffat. It's kind of like it's the Captain Kirk thing, you know. It's Khan, you know, Moffat.
Moffat, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I love Moffat's attitude toward some of the fan stuff, because sometimes he'll say things that are meant to be, you know, he's being a little snarky and making a joke, and some people, you know, for whatever reason, they can't handle a joke. That's their problem.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and that's what I love about Stephen Moffat, is like, he is a fan, he gets it, I know he gets it, and then he'll make comments, and I just am like, oh wow, that's funny. Probably harsh, but funny.
Yeah.
In fact, like when the inevitable question of, do you think that the Doctor will ever be a female? I loved his answer, and he was all like,
tilting his head because Michelle is right next to him. Like, it's like, people are not getting the subtext.
Like, I don't know how much clearer I can make it. And it's like, then there's no vacancy right now, so it's not like, it is kind of an awkward question, because Peter Capaldi's sitting right there, and they're talking about this is his first year, and Michelle Gomez is sitting there, and she's playing the Master, who has previously been a male character, and now is regenerated into a woman. And Moffat is there, and he's like, I've written this. Other people have written this into the show. It is possible. It is going to happen someday.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. So I'm like, I wanted to hug Moffat for that comment, because I'm just like, yes, thank you. I was like, slow clap it out for the mom.
Yeah.
Slow clap. It was great.
Yeah.
And it's just
what?
Let's see
what.
Yeah.
He was good. He was good.
The response flew over your head. You don't get it.
Yeah. And he was good about, you know, not. You could tell with some of the questions. Of course, people, you know, are going to ask about the upcoming season and all that. And of course, they're trying to avoid spoilers. So, you know, like, some people would ask questions, and, like, Jenna Coleman, like, the question would be, like, addressed to Jenna, and Jenna would be, like, looking over at Moffat, like, can I say something? And, and Moffat would answer, and he was vague for pretty much about anything about the upcoming season, except someone had asked about, oh crap, what was it? Somebody had asked about how Matt was the oldest looking Doctor, and really the oldest Doctor on screen so far, because he spent 1,000 years in Christmas, and they asked if Peter's Doctor would surpass Matt as far as age goes, and Moffat said, wait, there is something in the upcoming season related to Matt's 1,000-year tenure in Christmas, and related to Capaldi's Doctor being older as well. So.
Yeah.
But everything
Yeah, so
else,
there
he was very like, I'm not gonna say anything. Spoilers.
Yeah, and that was kind of the tone for a lot of these panels, like not just Doctor Who, but some of these other things are just like, because people ask questions, they're like, well, I can't tell you that. So it's basically, it's not so much of, oh, you know, here's the latest scoop, or, you know, you're going to get any exclusives. It's like, no, we're just sort of here to promote and to meet the fans and to talk about this, but not really talk about this at the same time. Which is sort of like, you know, the fun song and dance of San Diego Comic-Con. It's like you're promoting your show, but at the same time you can't say anything about it other than...
Watch
I
and
did
see.
like that people ask about, just like, especially with Michelle Gomez, asking her, like, things about, you know, playing the Master and what she thought about that, and you know, what your character... and someone asked, like, what your perfect Sunday would be, and they asked them of the whole cast, and Michelle Gomez's was hilarious.
Cup of tea and slapping Wonder Woman in the face.
Wonder Woman in the face. It was like, yes, of course you would do that, and it's really cool to see them just have all sorts of fun with this, and just I love it, and it's a good time. So.
Yep.
So, and then we also got, did we mention we got the
trailer.
Premiere date, September 19th.
We got a trailer.
Which we decided, we got a trailer.
Oh my God.
We saw Maisie Williams is playing somebody very interesting, somebody that the Doctor knows, but we don't know who that is. And there's been, I saw a list somewhere of speculating who she could be, and it's run everything from the terrible Zodin to Susan Foreman, although with the caveat that I don't think that they would bring back Susan and not have Carol Ann Ford involved in some way, so I don't think that's going to be the thing. This is just fans speculating.
Yes.
It's not in any way official, but people are saying, oh, you know, who could she be playing? So obviously it's somebody important, someone that the Doctor already knows. Now it could just be somebody that he's met off screen, and then they're bringing this character in to tell the rest of the story. I don't know. So, you know, Doctor Who fans, speculate away. That's what you're good at.
Yeah.
But be nice about it.
I've seen several people on Facebook. They're like, I think I know who she's playing. I'm like, I bet you don't.
I bet you do. You don't know. You don't know nothing.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try to speculate at all.
Remember one.
Because the minute you think you've got it figured out, they're going to turn it on its head. You're going to be like, what? I did not see that coming. So, but yeah.
I'm here for the ride. Just enjoy it. And let's
but
go on.
The trailer. The trailer.
There'll be a link to the show notes with the trailer. Please enjoy if you haven't watched it a million times already.
Yeah, it went up and I watched it.
I was just watching it now again because I was just scrolling through the San Diego Comic-Con Tumblr.
Yeah.
And I came across this trailer. I'm like, I'm just gonna put my mic on mute for a second and watch this again.
Oh my goodness. I watched it and I got to the end and I'm like, what the heck?
And the funny thing is, in a few months we'll have seen, we will have seen the episodes, and then we'll go back and watch the trailer. I'm like, I know what that is. I know what that is. I know what that is. I know what that is.
But
now I'm just like, I don't have a clue, and I like it that way.
Yeah. But you've got like the shot there of the Doctor running to Clara, and he looks so thrilled that she's alive. So I don't know what's going on there. There's Daleks. There's the Doctor playing a guitar and wearing sunglasses.
I knew it. He's gone full on Marty McFly, and it makes me so happy.
Yeah, well, I saw a picture of someone compared the city that we see in the new trailer with the Dalek city from, like, the first Dalek story.
Dalek story, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first thing Chauncey said. He was like, is that a Dalek city? I'm like, yeah, I think so.
Yep, I saw that, and I'm like, Scarrow!
Yeah.
Scarrow!
Oh my goodness!
So much fun! Oh, I'm so excited! I'm so happy! I've been so out of the loop lately.
Yeah.
and there's reasons for that, not to be discussed here. But
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
I mean,
I feel like I'm back in my element.
Yeah, I'm sure you could go find like Tumblr or something, and somebody's done like a shot by shot, frame by frame breakdown of the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's one shot, and it's like it looks like a cave with like a small pond, and there's some rocks, and there's like a person holding a torch. And the first thing I thought when I saw it is, are we going back to Karn? Is the Sisterhood of Karn from the Paul McGann's Doctor when he regenerated? We're like, what? Like, what are we doing here?
I like this.
In that orange spacesuit, the Doctor cannot get rid of that orange spacesuit.
Other than Karn, you know that, right?
I know that, but that's the first thing I thought of because the person's wearing red, and it reminded me of the Sisterhood of Karn. So that's the first place my mind went. It might, because with Doctor Who,
we went to Karn with Night of the Doctor, so it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to delve into why Capaldi's Doctor has a face that we've seen before, then the Sisterhood of Karn may hold some answers.
Maybe.
We will see.
Yeah.
This is what we do. We speculate, we theorize, and then we are wrong.
Yes.
Yep.
But that's okay. We relish in our wrongness sometimes, so it's the fun of it.
Yeah.
As long as nobody gets in a knockdown, drag out battle on Twitter.
Yeah.
Which I've kind of stepped away from Twitter because, man, there's some nasty people.
No flame wars with 12-year-olds?
Yeah. No, that's Sean's special.
I had to. I'm sorry, Sean.
You had to.
Sorry, I had
Sean,
to.
we love you. We love you, Sean. That's been a few years now, but it still won't live that down. You should go on to the next one, Rachel.
Okay.
I had to.
So September 19th, Doctor Who comes back. Apparently the Nerdist has co-produced a special called Doctor Who Doctor's Finest, which is going to air sometime in August on BBC America. So stay tuned to your BBC America listings for that. And speaking of the BBC and Stephen Moffat, there was a smaller, it wasn't Hall H, it was one of the Ballroom 20 panels, but there was a panel for Sherlock, which Stephen Moffat was there for that. None of the other cast was available, so they had this nice little short, like 4-minute video from Andrew Scott with Benedict Cumberbatch. I can't even laugh.
Mark Gatiss was in it too. It was just.
I'm laughing just thinking about it.
Oh,
I'm just laughing thinking about it.
Maybe we should send a video to Comic-Con since we can't make it. Like, what?
Yeah.
How do we do this? I don't know.
And
What
it's
do you
like,
wanna do?
it's, yeah.
I don't know. What you want to do?
And Andrew's all like, yeah. Andrew's like, well, I can't go because I have this thing, and it's this, these pieces of stapled together paper, and it says Spectre, but it's written on like Charlie Brown handwriting. The
so
James
like a
Bond
Sharpie
movie,
or
yeah,
something.
the James Bond movie.
He's like, have you
secret.
read the script? He's like asking the makeup lady.
Yeah.
Have you read the script? Like, oh, it's probably a good thing you haven't.
Yeah. And then he gets on like FaceTime with Benedict, and Mark Gatiss happens to be there, and Benedict's like, I can't make it either because I'm doing Hamlet, and Andrew's all like, well, give me your best Hamlet, and Benedict goes into speech from Hamlet, and meanwhile Mark is talking about whatever it is that he's doing that is keeping him from Comic-Con.
The funniest line is like, oh yes, talk about the theater, it's very British, they'll understand that.
They'll understand why we're not there. It's the theater. And finally Andrew's like, I'll just do it. I'll come up with something to send to Comic-Con. He's like, hello, San Diego Comic-Con. Miss me?
Oh, Sherlock.
trolls,
going
all
back
three
to
of
the
them.
Doctor Who panel, yeah. Going back to the Doctor Who panel a little bit, because they were doing the audience Q&A, and someone got up to ask a question, and Stephen Moffat goes, "Aren't you in the wrong panel?" And this person was dressed up as Sherlock.
Sherlock.
And he was like, "That was in ballroom 20, and everyone laughed.
Yeah.
It's just a good time.
Yeah.
I just remembered that.
Yeah. So, there really isn't a whole lot on the Sherlock panel, at least not that's been published yet, other than on the show's Twitter feed they announced that the special is going to be shown in selected cinemas worldwide. What that means to those of us that live in, Midwest USA means we'll probably get jacked.
Fly over country.
Yeah.
Well, we might, I don't know, we might get one.
Yeah.
And because Salt Lake we did get a few for I know Doctor Who is not Sherlock, but Deep Breath.
Right.
I think there was like 2 theaters in the area that had it. I didn't go to it because I'd gone to Day of the Doctor, and I'm like, I don't want to ruin the specialness of that. But I don't know, we might get something.
Yeah. There's still no air date though for the special.
That was Christmas.
Well, a lot of people are tying it to Christmas, but they've not actually said Christmas officially. They just keep saying soon.
Okay. All right. Well, keep saying you're soon then.
Yeah. But then we did get a clip from the special.
That was hilarious.
I love Mrs. Hudson.
I do too. I'm your landlady, not a plot device. Oh, God bless Mrs. Hudson. Oh my. And John with the mustache. He's like, I just grow this mustache so they'll recognize me.
So even though this one takes place in Victorian London, it's still very snarky. They're still very much they're same characters. They're just in an alternate history universe thing.
Something.
Whatever.
Yeah. So. And I guess in this case, instead of blogging, John publishes his stories, and I guess they're books, I guess. Books or serials. So it's almost like
original.
Yeah.
In the original books, that's what Dr. Watson did. Is like he was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote them as if he was writing as Watson.
Right.
So that's why Watson blogs in the
modern Sherlock.
In the modern Sherlock. That's why he's the blogger, because in the original, that's what he did, is he would write about the adventures of, the cases of Sherlock Holmes and publish them, and so that's that homage or tribute or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
For that aspect of it.
No.
So that's he's the official biographer, blogger, writer
downer,
whatever.
Yeah.
He's the recorder, the historian.
Mm-hmm. The adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Keeper of the Chronicles.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go high fantasy here, which I shall never complain about.
Yeah. So yeah, the clip from the special Christmas. I'm gonna be like Sean. Christmas, Easter Saturday.
Easter Christmas. Yeah. Oh my. So, yay, Sherlock. It is good to see the stuff from the special, because yes, the Sherlock fandom, they're starving they're drowning in the desert. They're going spare. Yep. Like, give us something, might as well. There you go.
Yeah. So, let's see. Next, moving on to a slightly different ilk, because I know we talked about this when they started their fundraising for it, but we got, I guess essentially a trailer for Con Man, which is going to be the spoof, I guess, with Alan Tudyk and Nathan Fillion playing two guys that were on a sci-fi show that got canceled. And their experiences with post being on this show that has such a cult following. So essentially it's spoofing the Firefly fandom is what it is. But this trailer gives you an idea of their characters, and then there's a bunch of cameos from people. Some of the other people that were on Firefly. Seth Green is in it. You see Will Wheaton in it on the airplane. He's like, "Excuse me, sir, you happen to be a sci-fi fan?" And Will Wheaton's like, "Shut up!" So I mean, this, I've seen bits of Firefly, but being in other fandoms, I totally get the level of fandomness, the severity of fandomness, and I think that just from what I've seen of this with this little trailer here, it looks absolutely hilarious. Just because it's a spoof, but it's based in reality, and therefore it makes it funnier. Because you're like, yes, I know people like that. Or I've seen people like that at conventions. And you can't help but laugh because there's some truth to it. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's a loving spoof. It's not, it's not mean-spirited at all.
Yeah.
But,
absolutely. Absolutely. But I guess it's going to be on Vimeo starting in September.
Yeah.
So what that means for people that want to watch it, I don't know.
Well,
I'm not that familiar with Vimeo.
The trailer has a thing to pre-order it on Vimeo.
Okay.
So, for $15.
Okay.
So
it's kind of like buying the season pass on like iTunes, I guess.
I guess.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't quite know how it all works.
There's a thing in the corner that you can click to pre-order.
Okay. Interesting. I'll probably just wait and see till it ends up on other places. So I think it'd be fun to watch, even if I don't necessarily know the people. But it looks hilarious.
I watched the trailer once, and it looks pretty interesting. So,
all you brown coats out there,
you'll enjoy this.
Yes.
It'll be good.
Get your $15 ready.
Saw a lot of excitement for this, so
Yeah.
it'll be. I might check it out.
Yep.
See how it goes.
Oh. All right, moving on to Once Upon a Time.
Yay! Oh my gosh, this one hit all my happy buttons for the most part. There were still a couple of things that I was just like, really?
Yeah.
For the most part, I was like, yes, give me all of it. I'll back my truck up and give it all to me.
I haven't seen any video from the panel yet. I just know what I read in the notes, and then the two little videos that they released.
Well, there's a third one that was shown at the panel, but I haven't seen it. It was like it was a little silly video about how the residents of Storybrooke, if they decided to leave after the ice wall came down, or because they kind of set it up as, because I watched the whole panel, and they set it up as, why do people stay in Storybrooke? It's not a very safe place to be. And they were like, well, we're going to talk to some of them and what, how they dealt with the ice wall.
Yeah. So,
like, I think it'll probably be on the DVD box set when it comes out, because they've done little silly things like that before. Like, they did one, like, called Good Morning Storybrooke, and they had, like, Belle's book club, or Granny's recipes, or they had a thing with Dr. Whale, and I can't remember what it was now, but it was just
like dating
it's just being silly. Yeah, something like that. But anyway, so the itself, they're very sold on this term dark swan, and I'm just like, okay, fine, but I'm still calling her the dark savior because I'm not a fan of this goofy pun. Although there was an interview with Jennifer Morrison that they talked about like mythology of swans, and so that's kind of where they're going with it. I'm like, okay, well, if you have a reason for it and not just dark swan, then go with it. But because I rewatched just on a whim last night because I wanted to. I rewatched Operation Mongoose Part 2, and they actually said in that they actually used the term dark savior in that episode, and I can't remember in what context now. But so I'm like, oh, why wouldn't they stick with that? But anyway, everyone looks very excited about the premise or the idea of Emma going full on dark. And they did say that, I don't know if it was actually in the panel, but it was probably one of the little side interviews. They did say that the look that they have for her that's been shown so far is not the final look. It's not, that's just for promotion. So, and in the video, the little clip they showed of Emma as the Dark One, she's in like this cage. She's in this, it's like the prison that Rumpel was in the very first episode. And they kept her in there, and this guard is bringing her dinner, and she's got a very different look. Like her eyebrows are white, and she's got some gold flecks on her skin, not as much as Rumpel did, but she's very like where Rumpel was the giggly, high pitched, childish trickster sort of thing. Emma, yeah, that was Rumpel. Where Emma is very cold. She is. I would almost compare her to Ingrid, the Snow Queen from last season, but not even. Ingrid, she at least had a sense of, I'm looking for my family. I'm looking for acceptance. Looking for this. Emma, as far as I can tell from just this little clip of what we've seen so far, she is just like. She's just plain evil. It's like pure evil. There's no goodness in her at all. Or at least that's the way that she's playing it so far.
And that's what Jennifer said.
Yeah. Like she is totally where she was the savior and the brightest light magic and all this. No, that has just been a total 180. It is totally on its head, and it's like, whoa, like she rips the guard's heart out for no reason, just because she can. And it's like, wow, this is going to be interesting. And like, if they play this right, and it's really going to be cool, and how they do this. So, like, I mean, you can tell that's the thing that they're pushing this season. I mean, they had the promotional stuff, like the big billboard thing out there, and it was Dark Swan, and it was Emma with on the posters and stuff. So it's like, this is going to be interesting. And panel is just so much fun to watch because they started switching around their name tags, and the poor cameraman didn't know who he was supposed to be pointing the camera out whenever they were talking. So like Colin's name tag ended up in front of Adam, and Josh was in front of Ginny or something. It was hilarious. And they had a ton of people at this panel. It's like they had Ginny and Josh, Colin and Jen, and they had Lana and Sean McGuire and Rebecca Mader were there. They're the first. They haven't been to Comic-Con for Once Upon a Time before. They're now regulars, so yay them. And then Emily DeRobin and Robert Carlyle were there. So they had a lot of people to talk to, and it seemed like each one maybe got one or two questions. Jennifer Morrison got the most just because she's the focus of the show, of this season, which I am not complaining about. So I'm like, about stinking time. Yeah. But yeah, they did talk a lot about a few things. Robert Carlyle talked about how Mr. Gold, he's probably going to be in a coma for at least the first little part of this season. So I'm like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against Robert Carlyle, but Rumpelstiltskin, I've had it with him. I mean, I know like his heart has been cleansed of the darkness, and he's going to be a totally different character now. But I just like let Rumpel rest. Same with Snow White, but Ginny Goodwin. She had some purple hair going.
Yeah.
Says that Mr. Gold is presently in a coma, so he's not doing too much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
He could stay there.
That. Yeah. And Belle is, I don't know what they're going to do with Belle, because she did get to do a few things, like, the panel was moderated by Yvette Nicole Brown, who is, like, super Once Upon a Time fan. Her and Christina Perry need to be friends. But she was listing off things. She was talking, she directed a question toward Emily DeRobin, who plays Belle, and she was like, Belle did a lot of stuff this season. She went on an adventure to Arendelle to find out something about her mom. She banished the Dark One. She, found rebound love with Will. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess Belle did do a few more things this year than normal, but yeah, they need to have her do something else. So Emily was like, oh, I think Belle needs a vacation after all this. And I'm like, well, maybe. But anyway, so I'm trying to think what else. Oh, and so they asked Sean McGuire, who do you think Robin Hood's true love is? And he pointed to Regina. But Rebecca Mader is just, yeah, it was so cute. They were adorable. But then Rebecca Mader was sitting on the other side, plays Zelena, who I mentioned during our little discussion about Doctor Who, in comparison to her and Michelle Gomez, where she plays the villain and she just relishes it, and it just has so much fun with it. It was a treat to watch Rebecca Mader at San Diego Comic-Con. She just ate the whole thing up and just was having such a blast with it, and I'm like, I want to meet you, woman. You're amazing. And I love your character. I love how just terrible her character is. And she said this in the panel. She was just like she's evil and she's a psychopath and she's terrible, but she thinks she's actually a very delightful person. And she's just, oh my gosh. I mean, and it's true. Like, you watch Zelena, she is entitled to this happiness that she's stealing away from Regina, and it's just so much. She brings so much to that character, and I adore her. Outside of my Captain Swan fangirling,
Outlaw Queen,
the Wicked Witch.
Outlaw.
Mm-hmm. Outlaw Queen, but
Outlaw Queen, but you love the Wicked Witch, who's trying to destroy Outlaw Queen. So.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of a weird thing. I do like Outlaw Queen, and something Lana actually said about Regina in the panel. I kind of was like, I had to do a double take, because I was like, wow, that's really deep. that Regina is learning how to be happy. That she is worthy of happiness, and part of her happiness is Robin Hood. Another part of that happiness is Henry, and one of the great. She's had a good example of how of accepting happiness in her friend Emma, and she's like, okay, maybe I can, I do deserve this, and I am worthy of this, and I'm just like, that's an interesting way of she said it a lot better, so don't take my very botched explanation of it to heart, because yeah. But anyway, so you gotta watch the panel. It's so good. Yeah. And then one other thing, well, there's several other things, but another thing, because they're bringing in Camelot, and because they have to go find Merlin, because he's the one that is going to destroy the Dark One. And they were like, well, what time frame is Camelot in? And Eddie and Adam they didn't say for sure, but they were kind of cagey about it. But one of the options was, oh, maybe it was when Killian, Captain Hook, was in the Royal Navy. And I was like, give me that backstory. You give it to me. Do not troll with me. I want that. Do not screw with me, Eddie and Adam. I have been waiting and begging for this. It's like, please, I need Captain Hook backstory. Now. Yesterday. I wanted. But yeah, so Camelot is coming, and and also, this one was total blindside. I was like, seriously? Brave! Princess Merida is coming!
I'm so excited!
Merida! I was like, holy crap! And then, this is so cool! And they even had a little clip of Merida, and they actually have her cast already, and nobody somebody knew this. Her name is Amy Manson. I do not know who she is. I've not heard of her before now, but she was on Twitter
Scottish.
talking about it. She is Scottish.
Which is
and
good.
she just the first few kind of tweets and pictures that she's put out there, oh my gosh, she is so excited for this, and I am so excited for it too. She looks the part, and she looks like she is just ready to roll. I mean, last year I was excited when Georgina Haig and Elizabeth Lale were Anna and Elsa and Anna, respectively. Anyway, and I'm like, okay, this girl, she's going to be the same way as those two were, and I'm just like, yay!
Yeah.
So we'll see how that turns out. It'll probably be like just a few episodes, like they did with Ariel in season 3. So I don't think it's going to be a big focus, but she's going to be there.
She might. I mean, she might fit into like Camelot with the whole archery thing.
Yeah.
You know. So.
I bet you're right.
Yeah.
I bet there's going to be a Camelot connection there. So. So that's exciting. It's I'm like, wow, they actually surprised us with something. This is awesome.
I like Brittany's comment after I posted that, where she's like, she and Robin Hood better have an archery competition.
Yes, do it. And then they also touched upon Henry's new job as the author, and like, because at the end of last season he broke the quill, and Yvette Nicole Brown was funny. She was like, so what's he gonna do? Is he gonna blog their stories? Because I'm like, I was like, yeah, you're right, like, because that's the point of the author, is to tell the story and to record and observe. And now there's no author because Henry broke the quill, and Eddie and Adam were like, well, he may come to regret that, and I'm like, he better, because that means he'll have something to do. I mean, he could tweet it.
Yeah.
Or whatever. They did mention that. And then, last thing is, they did mention that this season, the 100th episode of Once Upon a Time will come to pass, and it will actually be, they're planning on that being the spring premiere, will be the 100th episode. So I'm like, dude, that's awesome. And they were talking about how when the show started, like, people thought it would be the first thing to get canceled, and then it didn't, and now we're 5 seasons in, or they're getting a 5th season, so they were very appreciative of the fans. And then just one more little thing, because this is, like, just, like, last year I noticed, and this is, like, just fandom in general, I just kind of stepped back from it, just because I've been busy, and I've had other things going on, and more important things, if you can believe it. And then, but what they said in the panel, and what I noticed was, like, because they set out to tell a story that's about, that's hopeful and positive, and giving, isn't so cynical and nitty gritty and scary and dark and mean and mean spirited, which is kind of ironic because of how mean spirited some factions of fandom are, but they can all go stuff it.
Yeah.
But I love, and I kind of just was like, this is what I love about this show, is that it is very hopeful. It's very much about, the fight between good and evil, and how, heroes are good, upstanding people. They're not perfect, but they're trying, and they're doing their best. And I think that's going to be, and that was a big theme of last season. That's probably going to be a big theme of this season. I'm looking forward to it with some cautious optimism, because a little bit of last season was not up to snuff. But I think, I'm back on the bandwagon. I'm back, not that I ever left, I just got other things going on. But I like, I'm looking forward to this. I'm happy that this is coming back, and I'm excited to see where the story goes. And again, I repeat my admonition to those working on the Han Solo movie: don't screw it up.
Very, very much
anyway.
so.
So Once Upon a Time is coming back, so hooray.
Yay! Soon-ish. Late September. It was fun.
Yeah, late September.
Yeah,
there's like everything's going.
Yeah, it was funny.
Just park your set out a little more in September.
Yeah, It was funny because like we got the
Easter famine.
yeah we got the premiere date for series 9 of Doctor Who, and I'm like, September 19th. What kind of crap is that? That's so long, so far away. And then I was, like looking at the calendar and when everything else is coming back, and I'm like, oh crap, Doctor Who's like the first thing to come back of the things I want.
Yeah. Well, at least like last year, Doctor Who was in August, and then everything else in September.
For me as well.
In my mind, everything
Yeah.
comes back in August, not late September. So I'm like, well, looking at the calendar, I'm like, well, crap. Actually, Doctor Who comes back. I still have like another week and a half before Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back.
And I've got Salt Lake Comic Con wedged right in the middle, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? Very carefully.
Very carefully.
I don't know if if I will be reviewing as often as I used to do this year, because we'll see.
There's a lot to take in. Whew. Speaking of which, moving on to the next thing, there was Marvel did not have a very large presence this year. They let DC pretty much take over because Marvel, I think, is going to have a bigger presence at Disney's D23 Expo next month.
But they don't really have anything ready
that
to showcase, do
well,
they?
You would think, yet they're showing trailers for Batman vs. Superman, which comes out like next year. Not long after that, Captain America comes out. So it just, I guess it depends on whether they want to show anything, whether they have anything they could show. I think that's my mindset, at least. But there was a panel for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter. They shared, and again, it's one of those ones where there's not video out yet. I have seen pictures. There's more video between Haley Atwell and Chloe Bennett's Instagrams more than anything I think we were talking about earlier. Apparently, there's this app and you can record yourself lip syncing. And Haley started doing it, and then Chloe started doing it, and it became this whole thing, S.H.I.E.L.D. versus Carter. And it came down, and they did various songs back and forth. Haley's got one with her and Billy Piper, actually. It's like Agent Carter and Rose Tyler together.
It was her and Billy Piper.
Yeah.
And then all these other ones started coming down the pipe. Like, oh.
It became like this whole Instagram lip sync battle, and finally Coulson and crew threw the gauntlet down of them singing Queen's We Are the Champions, and it goes through the entire cast, and it ends up with Clark Gregg dressed as Peggy Carter. Red hat, blue suit, red lipstick. And I shared it on our Facebook page, but Clark Gregg posted on Instagram a little bit ago a screen capture of his phone, and it's a text message from Haley Atwell saying, "I'm livid." And Clark is like, vengeance. So there's not much from either their they were busy outside of their panels while in San Diego. A few things that I have read and heard. For Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Skye is going to be much more comfortable with her powers in the upcoming season and not be afraid of hurting everybody like she was last season. And then Agent Carter, when it comes back, again, it will be a mid-season replacement when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. goes on winter hiatus. They haven't said how many episodes, but they're speculating it's going to be 8, just like last time. But it will take place in Los Angeles. Peggy is going to L.A. and Jarvis is going with her, which should be interesting.
I've known that it's going to be in Los Angeles for a while.
Yeah.
It's not exactly news.
No, but we have mentioned it, so. It's news now!
I guess.
Yeah, and I think I read somewhere that they do expect Dominic to come back to play Howard, which is good. So kind of have to have Howard start coming back, I think. But it would be interesting to see where this picks up as far as Peggy's storyline, because the first season of Agent Carter was pre the short, so will this be post the short? Now she's working with Howard as a founding member of S.H.I.E.L.D. or what? So that should be.
If they don't get Dominic Cooper back, I mean, it could just be like, oh, Howard is somewhere else, and I'm starting up S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever.
Maybe.
Whatever it is. So yeah, it could be. Could go either way.
Yeah. Who knows?
I am intrigued and excited to see.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and find out. So, and again, I'm sure the video from their panel will be up on the internet at some point. Although I did see pictures from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. portion, and I guess they were introducing the cast and bringing them out. And Brett Dalton came out, and some of the audience yelled "Hail Hydra!" And there's a shot of Clark Gregg standing up with his hands on the table, glaring at the person in the audience.
Yay. I love the Marvel cast.
They take their roles very seriously.
Yes, well, they should.
Yeah.
Well, they should.
Very well. So, but yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, I'm excited. Yay! There was this nice little, like, cinematic type thing that I showed on our Facebook page that I guess they showed at the panel that was kind of a condensed version of season 1 of Agent Carter, and you can watch it and you're like, yeah, I love Peggy. Peggy kicks some major booty. So, I love Peggy Carter. It's a nice little reminder of how awesome she actually is. So.
Yes.
Yay. So, and that was really it for Marvel. So DC, on the other hand,
you know what? I gotta say this. About the DC Marvel, because I don't know. I never got into the whole DC's better than Marvel sort of thing. I kind of, the way I look at it is like, okay, Marvel's kicking butt with the movies. DC is whatever, because they did have the Batman v Superman trailer there, and I was like, okay, that's a thing, whatever, move on. But I do love the DC TV stuff, because I feel like this is how I feel about this. Is everybody knows Batman, everybody knows Superman, and I know it's like a fictional thing, and I'll probably piss off a lot of comic book fans. I don't care. Stick it. That should be nice. I've got friends who are. But anyway, but I'm just so enjoying the stuff that's on the CW with the DC, with Arrow and Flash, and now Legends of Tomorrow. Like, I saw that Legends of Tomorrow trailer, and I was just like, give me. I want it. Give it to me now. And how cool the whole thing just has been. And I know some people were a little let down by season 3 of Arrow, but the Flash was just, I wasn't one of them, but the Flash was awesome. I didn't see very many Flash people at the thing. I saw more Arrow people, but I think Arrow, they're a lot more prevalent on social media. Thank you, John Barrowman and Stephen Amell. Between the two of them, it's like, you got everything. So I haven't got to watch the Arrow panel yet, but I know it's available, so I will at some point. But also some news that came out, and I think this might have come out before San Diego Comic-Con started, I don't remember, that they have cast, because they've teased for Arrow next season, the villain is going to be Damien Dark, and they cast Neil McDonough. I think I said his name right. But anyway, he's one of the Howling Commandos from Agent Carter and Captain America. He's Dum Dum Dugan.
Nice.
And he's cool. Yeah, and I saw him in sci-fi. I think it was sci-fi. Like years and years ago, did a miniseries called Tin Man, which is sort of a Wizard of Oz imagining and spin-off. And he was in that, and he was really good. And I'm like, dude, get this guy in more stuff. So now he's going to be an Arrow as the villain, and I'm like, ooh, I'm intrigued. Tell me more. So that's going to be interesting. So at the Arrow panel, they actually had Stephen Amell in the new Green Arrow. Like, he is now officially Green Arrow. He's not just Arrow.
Stephen Amell pulled a Loki.
Yeah, he pulled a Loki and he came out in character in the costume and was just saying, and he announced. I only saw it once, so I can't remember it word for word, but he says, it's not Starling City anymore, it's Star City, which, okay, I like Starling City better, but that's me. And he's now the Green Arrow, which is good. Some of the other stuff they confirmed in the panel, it's like there's going to be a lot more humor, and it's going to be more fun this year, which is good, because I was just talking about how, DC is so gritty and, well, anyway, shows just are like darker and grittier. But one of the things I've loved about The Flash is that it's got that feel of being in the same universe as Arrow, but it is a lot more. There's a lot more humor and a lot more lightness to it, and it's like you don't feel like you're gonna die every 2 seconds. And so when they would do crossovers with the Arrow characters going to Flash and Flash characters going to Arrow, the Arrow to Flash crossovers I felt worked a lot better, because you felt like, oh, these characters do have a sense of humor. They're not, groping around at the depths of, the murky, gritty grossness. They're actually, Diggle can smile and Felicity can crack a joke. It's allowed. It's okay. So, I'm like, it's not all just weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth. It's actually kind of fun. So I'm pleased to hear that they're going to be bringing some of that humor to Arrow and just have a little more fun with it. I'm like, no wonder John Barrowman's part of this cast. They need to lighten up every once in a while.
Just have him break out into song. We'll figure out a way to make that appropriate
he's
for.
Done plenty of that.
For Arrow.
And they teased a little bit about Flash. They didn't really, not too much about it. Then they also talked about Legends of Tomorrow. I guess Brandon Routh was there, who plays Ray Palmer. So he's thinking he might want to be the leader. And then Katie Lotz, who, Sarah Lance, who met an untimely demise, but she's coming back for Legends of Tomorrow as White Canary. And I'm just like, thank you. I'm still not sold on Laurel Lance, although I am warming up to her a little bit better. But so she was talking about how she's Sarah will have come back from the Lazarus pit, and so that's how she's going to be back. And I'm just like, good.
Yeah, well, I thought so from the trailer that they released a while back.
Yeah, so they had that, and so I'm
coming out of the Lazarus pit.
Yeah, so I guess, they'll dig her up and put her in the pit and say, hey, you're back, now you're White Canary, because Black Canary's been co-opted by your sister, so come do that. So,
well, before she was just the Canary, there was no color association, I don't think.
Yeah. Well,
so now Laurel's
right.
on.
She did wear...
She sort of took on the mantle, but she added the color association of black. So now... Yeah. Sarah is going to have to be White Canary to distinguish herself from her sister.
Yeah. Well, and now she's got, because they both had the black leather and the blonde wig, but now she actually has a white leather outfit, which is similar to her Black Canary. It's just white. So it'll be interesting. Yeah. And then I'm trying to go through all the other characters. So they've got the Atom, which is Ray Palmer. Hot Girl's going to be there. Captain Cold, Flash, and then Firestorm, and then there was another fire-related character that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's in the trailer. And then Rip Hunter, who is being played by Arthur Darvill, and he's a time traveler. So I'm just like, last night when we were doing Friday Night Who on a Saturday, and we were doing A Good Man Goes to War, and Rory has the, he's going around and saying, yeah, I have a message from the doctor, and he blows up everything, and I'm like, look, he's auditioning to be Rip Hunter. So now this Rip Hunter, he's coming from the future to tell these heroes, this group of heroes, saying, you are the legend, you're going to be legends, you're not just superheroes. And he's like, all futuristic and British, and I just love it. I'm like, Rory Williams is back on my TV screen as a time traveler. This is just amazing. So he's not Rory, but he kind of is. I'm going to go with it.
He's some weird mix of Rory and the Doctor. Right?
Yes. So I'm very, very much looking forward to him being in the show. I would say so, yes. He's a mix of Rory and the Doctor. I like it. And he's got a long coat to boot. So it's not just the 11th Doctor. He's also channeling the 10th Doctor a little bit with that long leather coat, and I'm like, okay, yes, I can do this. So anyway, so that was. Let's see. So that's sort of the DC TV thing. So
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I'm like, I know some people get into the whole competition between Marvel and DC, and I'm just like, you know what? As long as this competition brings me more interesting TV shows and characters and stories, I don't care where they come from. Just make me a good story and make me fun characters that I can enjoy. Just that's all I ask. That's all I care about. I don't care what brand or studio it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me something good. That's all I want.
I'm just nodding my head because I haven't watched any of Arrow or the Flash yet, so it's on my list.
Well, you're kind of getting to the point where if you're gonna try to catch up, you're gonna have a heck of a time doing it because there's gonna be a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's like.
And then I don't know if Supergirl's gonna tie in because it's actually on CBS, but it's CBS and CW are kind of under the same umbrella parent company, and it's actually I think some people who work on Arrow and Flash are also involved with Supergirl, so I'm kind of curious if there's ever. I don't know that there will be just because it's on a different network, but it could happen. Maybe, I don't know. They've batted that around. So and I haven't seen anything anymore. I know there was promotional stuff for Supergirl out there at Comic-Con. I just haven't got a chance to see it yet.
Yeah.
So, but that one actually looks good. But it's on CBS, and I don't know how I'm going to watch it because CBS doesn't put their stuff on Hulu because they're stupid. And you have to pay for a different thing. And CBS, get your crap together. Seriously.
Come on, people.
Yeah.
Well.
Get with the program.
Yeah. Do you know what year it is? Not on CBS, on NBC. There is a panel for Heroes Reborn. Yeah. Mitch is excited.
Party!
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to do it. I had to.
Yeah. And it included creator Tim Kring, and I guess they showed some clips, but he also said that Heroes Reborn is going to launch a few video games, including
Bridge the gap.
Yeah, and which will bridge that 5-year gap between Heroes and Heroes Reborn, and then Greg Grunberg actually was the moderator, I guess, for the panel.
Interesting. He's
and
actually in the show.
Yeah. They brought in quite a bit of the cast, but at talking to the creator, he asked how something like Heroes Reborn can compete with all the television shows that are on these days, and Kring said that it's really all about the characters, but they'll also use technology we actually have to make it seem more real. And then they're also filming all over the world, including Paris, Tokyo, Iceland, and more. So it's going to be literally an international experience. And then they brought in some more of the cast to talk about it, but they showed like a little like trailer teaser type thing that's going to be part of the web series that's going to be out before the show comes back, to also help bridge that gap and to set up Heroes Reborn. But I guess the basic premise is the only thing I can compare it to is like where we're going to go with in Marvel with the Civil War with the superhero registry, but it's more extreme because instead of just registering the superheroes, here the world is kind of turned on the heroes and they're like killing them on the spot if they get discovered. So most of them are either dead or in hiding because they're fearing for their lives. So for whatever reason, there has been, this mass turn on, at least for some people, this mass turn on the heroes. They can't be trusted. They want them taken down. But at the same time, with the new trailer that we got, it shows that a good chunk of the world still wants these superheroes, these people with abilities, and want them to come and save the world, essentially. So it's interesting.
Basically they're scared of them, but then when crap starts hitting the fan, they're like, oh, by the way, we still need you around, even though we treated you like
yes, it's a little bit of the Civil War storyline from Marvel, but then there's a little bit, if you've seen the new Superman versus Batman trailer, what they're doing with Superman, it's a little bit of that as well, where people think that Superman is a terrorist and needs to be brought to justice and needs to be taken down, but then there's still the everyday people that think that he's a hero and want him around to save them. So it's an interesting premise, and I'm excited to see what happens to it. Again, with everything else, I need to do a rewatch of Heroes to refresh everything. I'm just so busy. There's part of me.
So much good TV on.
Yeah, it's like there's. Yeah. I kind of wish we had Wi-Fi when we go camping, because then I could just mainline and pretend I'm not camping, but we don't, so I can't use Netflix. Anyway,
if you could find a way to download it, maybe.
Yeah. Something. So, but I'm excited for Heroes to come back, I guess, if you want to call it that, or have this reboot or whatever however you want to call it, the sequel. I know Mitch is excited.
Yeah,
he's very excited.
I'm excited. I mean, I don't think I can match the level of Mitch's excitement, but I am very much looking forward to this. So, although I don't know if any of us can match.
I'm right back in.
Picked up where you left
This
off.
was my jam back in the day, basically. And now it's coming back. And I mean, I love Doctor Who, and that's kind of right now. But Heroes is a close second.
This
revival.
This is the end of the wilderness years for Heroes.
Yes. Yep. Thankfully, much shorter wilderness years.
Yes.
So.
True. And you know what? And it's interesting that they brought up in that panel, like, there is so much really good TV on, whereas when Heroes was on, it was like Heroes was an anomaly, because I don't even know what was on when Heroes was on, because I mean, everyone was talking about Heroes and how good it was and just how, and interesting, and now it's like, I think it's just going to be one of the crowd in a good way, because I mean, I think maybe that was the start of this wave of just really good, television storytelling, and how, because back in the day it was like, oh, if you're on, if if you're on TV, you know, you're not very good. But now it's like you've got so much good, really good and interesting and creative stuff going on now, and it's like, you know, where do you find room for all this stuff anymore? And I mean, you know, there's still a fair amount of crap out there. There always will be, but still, it's like this is like I've heard people call it the golden age of TV, and now, you know, you got stuff on Netflix and stuff. And it's just, I kind of feel like Heroes kind of started what was part of beginning all this, like people having greater or higher expectations from their shows, from their TV shows, and so I hope that the Heroes Reborn can continue that. And I think they will. I think they'll measure up to what needs to be done.
Mm. Very much so.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how this first miniseries goes, and if they get any more going forward.
Yeah, and even if not, then, you know, we've got this last thing to kind of wrap it up. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it very much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Alrighty. I kind of want to save the next one for last, but Chrissy,
okay.
I'm assuming you
Well,
added this one because I know you'd shared it on
I
Facebook.
was going to put it in our show notes, and I forgot, and then I was looking through Facebook for something else. I remembered, like, this. So this is just a quick one. I don't think this was necessarily at San Diego, but maybe it was. It was just in the melee. The Shannara Chronicles, we mentioned this in passing. The Shannara books by Terry Brooks, they're being made into a TV miniseries for MTV, and there was a trailer out. I didn't realize John Rhys Davies was going to be in this, and I saw that, and I just about fell over, like, yay! So he's going to be, he's playing the Elf King in Shannara Chronicles, and if you know anything about Shannara, the first book, The Sword of Shannara, it's basically the Lord of the Rings with different window dressing, but it's still pretty good. Then the second book is the Elfstones of Shannara, which is what the TV show is going to be based on. So they were talking about that. The only thing I don't like about this trailer is because it's on MTV, they have to pander to the teens. So they're all like, it's a story about 3 teens who are going on this epic quest. I'm like, they're not teens. They're like one of them's an elf, and they're a couple of farm kids. I'm like, they wouldn't call them teens. Like, get that shit pandering nonsense out of here. So I was like, don't make me come over there and smack you. But other than that, I mean, it looks really good. I mean, I know that's just marketing and promotion, and it's on MTV, so whatever. Yeah. But, I mean, so far as I can tell, it looks pretty good, and I'm excited for it. I don't know what else to say about it. Just I wanted to put the link to the trailer in there. Yeah. And, yeah. So, yeah, I'll talk about that quickly, and then go on to the final
crowning jewel,
grand finale, the crown jewel of Comic-Con.
Which, I mean,
year.
it wasn't even the finale, because it was yesterday. Saturday is when it happened, but it was the big one.
Saturday's the big day. Sunday's just sort of the cleanup. Yeah. Oh, here's the extra little things.
Yeah, this really, this was the headliner. The neon lights. People waited for days in line for Hall H for this, and I can't say I blame them. It's not my cup of tea, but Chauncey said if he had been there, he would have waited as long as it took to be able to get in.
There's probably people that have been waiting 30 years for this.
Yeah. But there's this little movie that's coming out in December. We were talking about it a little bit earlier. It's a little movie directed by J.J. Abrams by the name of Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Which was funny because in the San Diego Comic-Con schedule, at least online, for Hall H, it just said Lucasfilm presentation.
Who's excited to kids?
It's like, really? Lucasfilm, we all know what that is.
We know that.
Yeah, so if Chris Hardwick hadn't fanboyed enough moderating the Doctor Who panel, he certainly got his fill moderating the Star Wars panel.
I'm surprised they haven't. I wonder if they had to scrape him off the floor after Comic-Con.
Probably.
I mean, I know he's a very professional and a professional host, entertainer, presenter kind of guy, but I think he's good. I think he's going to be a little bit high strung here.
A little bit. I would be. The panel started with J.J. Abrams, of course, producer Kathleen Kennedy, and writer Lawrence Kasdan, which Chauncey actually didn't even know this. The writer, Kasdan, actually wrote Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So
you didn't know that?
No. Well, we didn't know who the writer was.
That.
We hadn't realized who was writing the script. So
okay.
Once Chauncey read the name, he knew who it was, but he hadn't realized he was the one doing the writing. So
gotcha. Okay.
But
I was like, Chauncey?
Yeah,
I know. Have a talk with you?
Yeah. So the movie is done as far as filming. They're editing. There's a rough cut out there, but it is apparently Disney is giving JJ as much time as he needs to get it right, which means he'll probably be like a Peter Jackson and be editing The Lord of the Rings up till the day before the premiere. Would be my guess. Which I don't blame him.
That's not quite right. Just tilt that X-Wing just a little bit to the left.
Yeah.
Guys, we got no warning.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. We're on the red carpet. Everyone's in their seat. We need this thing.
Yeah.
Come on.
So this was actually Lawrence Kasdan's first Comic-Con, actually. Funny enough, I guess because back in the day, writers weren't as big a deal, I guess.
Well, they didn't really have conventions.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of did, but not to this extent.
Yeah.
Way back
yeah.
when.
But when Abrams called him and brought him in, he was super excited, and they spent a year writing the script. Which, that's a long time, but, you want to get it right. It's like Chrissy's been saying, don't screw this up. And then, I guess they brought out some of the creatures, and one of the things that they wanted to emphasize is a lot of the characters that we're going to see are practical effects. There's going to be some CG, because you just some things you just can't do. But they want to do practical effects as much as possible. So a lot of the creatures and the robots and some of the special effects, like there's explosions and fire, and those are legit. They aren't CG. And that's,
which I saw that behind the scenes video reel that they have of,
we'll get to that.
Star Wars. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're going to get there, I will save my comment for then.
We will get to that.
Okay.
Rogue One is going to start filming in 3 weeks, which is the next movie. I know we talked about it a few weeks ago when they announced that it's going to be one of the spin-offs, I guess, up there with the Han Solo movie. The Rogue One is going to start filming in 3 weeks. And then they brought out more of the cast, including Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and Oscar Isaac, who are all the good guys, essentially. And then they also brought out Adam Driver, Domhnall Gleeson, and Gwendolyn Christie, who are all playing bad guys, essentially. Because Chris Hardwick, in the video, he's like, well, you've seen the light side, now let's see some of the dark side. Adam Driver is Kylo Ren, which we've all seen with the tri-blade lightsaber. Domhnall Gleeson is playing General Hux, and Gwendolyn Christie is playing Captain Phasma. And if you're a Game of Thrones fan, you know who Gwendolyn Christie is. She's like this Amazon of a woman. She's like huge. She's like 7 foot tall or something like that. She's crazy. Dominating figure. So it's a good Again, good build, I guess, for the dark side. And then, of course, they have to bring out the three, as Carrie Fisher calls them, the legacy players. So that Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford were there as well.
Nice.
Carrie Fisher referred to them as a tap dancing group. I'm not quite sure what she means, but considering
It's Carrie Fisher.
it's
She
Carrie
says-
Fisher,
she
so
says
you just
things
go
and
with
it's
this.
funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Carrie said that people need to make sure that they watch the movies as a family. She said, if we don't like the same characters, I'm not going to like my kid. Again, it's Carrie Fisher. And then Harrison Ford said his foot is fine. His foot is okay.
Yep.
Yeah. But then they said before San Diego kicked off that there was not going to be a trailer. So that was expected not to see a trailer, but what they had instead was this nice little featurette reel of behind the scenes footage, which, based on my Facebook feed, for the fans that were already excited, made them cry like babies, and for the people that were cautiously optimistic about the movie, they were leaning more towards the "oh my god, I'm getting really excited" category.
Yeah, and it is a mark. This is what I was going to say earlier. It is a mark of how, I don't want to say vitriolic or poisonous that the prequels were, but that's all I can really think of to say.
Mm-hmm.
It is a mark of how much the prequels tainted Star Wars. In that in this behind the scenes reel, they are talking about practical effects, and the the creatures are actually there, the fire is real, everything is real. And, because the prequels, they were just so CGI effects heavy, and they looked so, and people were so mad because they looked so fake, and, it was just, CGI palooza, and there was just, and that was the thing, like, when I saw the Star Wars trailer, it was from Celebration, and then they had the BB-8 droid come out on stage, and I'm just like, okay, this is the kind of charm that Star Wars, this is the original trilogy, this is what it had that made it so endearing to people. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, you can do all these great and crazy things with, like big Star Destroyers and stuff. It was the practical effects and the idea that you can put a ship on a model ship on a piece of fishing wire or whatever it is they did, and just, have it float across the space backdrop and have it look that good. And then with the prequels, with all the CGI, everyone's just like, it's just not the same. I mean, yeah, you have the characters and the music and the story, but it's like that was part of what I think people really missed about the prequels. And now that they're bringing back and saying, okay, we need to have more practical effects. Yes, there's some CGI just because that's the nature of it, and we can do that, but don't go overboard with it. I mean, use it as it is necessary, not as, hey, let's just do it because we can, sort of thing. And I think that's what, and they were emphasizing this in the behind the scenes thing, and I was laughing, and I was laughing at the same time. I was like, they learned, they figured it out, and now they're telling us, yes, we have learned from our mistakes, and we're not going to do that again, and we're bringing this back to what it needs to be. So I'm kind of in that same camp, and I just thought it was funny that, yep, they realized one of the big mistakes that they made before.
Yeah.
So.
And there's a lot of
George Lucas is happily retired.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Counting his dollars.
Yeah.
It's like, you're welcome, Disney. 1, 2. Yeah. It's just it's a fun little behind the scenes. I mean, it's not really. I don't think there's really anything spoilerish in it. As far as plot or anything, because you see a lot of the faces that you've either already seen in the trailer, like Daisy, and obviously Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill, all of that. You see um, Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca, um, and I don't think you really see. You see them putting C-3POs together and all that. There's a shot of them on the first day, and J.J. Abrams like, "Welcome to day one of filming of Star Wars Episode 7," and everybody's like, "Yeah," clapping because it's like, "Can you believe this? We're actually here doing this." And it's a fun, so you see some characters that we've seen. I see the stormtroopers that we've seen in the trailer. You see Simon Pegg a couple of times. Simon Pegg is in it. He's in a rubber suit, so you'll have to find the right rubber suit for Simon Pegg, but he is in it. He's very excited. He's like, my entire life has led to this. I melt for Star Wars. And then you see him in his rubber suit. So that's fun. And you get some of the music, that John Williams score, and John Williams is still working on scoring the film while they're editing it. There's some stuff in there that, if you look at it, you can speculate how it fits in certain characters in the same scene together. It's like, ooh, especially because we still really don't know who Daisy Ridley is playing. Most people are speculating that she is one of Han and Leia's children, but that's not been confirmed nor denied by anyone. And you see her and Han in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon in this little video. So speculate as you will, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of up there with the trailer for Doctor Who for season 9. Anytime Chauncey comes across this Star Wars thing, he has to watch it. I can't turn away. I must watch it, even though I've seen it 5 million times already. Take my geek card if you want. I'm not that big a Star Wars fan. Chauncey said to me yesterday. Literally yesterday, we were out going for a walk. He's like, "I am going to turn you into a mega Star Wars fan." I'm like, "Good luck." I don't think you're going to be successful, but good luck.
You've tried to turn him into Doctor Who.
Yeah, that was my argument. It's like, I tried to turn you to Doctor Who and it didn't work. Like, why do you expect to turn me into? Like, I'm excited. I like the characters. I like the story. I love the music. I had no issue with the prequels or the original, the first 3 or whatever you want to call them, the new trilogy. It's just not my jam. I'm sorry. I will go watch them. I will go watch episode 7 at least a couple of times. But
prequel trilogy somewhat. But when I wanted to get my friend into it one time, and I tried starting with episode 1, and she got bored and kept wanting to watch something else. So finally, halfway through, we just went and we watched something else. Yeah. So I tried again with episode 4, and that time she had to leave it. She had to go home halfway through, but she wanted to go back to it next time we saw each other. So.
And because when I saw the original trilogy, I saw the special edition in theaters, because that's
how old you are.
That's when I saw. That's how it works, and I really loved them. I loved the original. I thought it was great. There was just a charm to it, and it felt so homespun, I guess would be the word, and just it felt like last week when we were talking about Back to the Future and how it was. That movie was not meant to be a blockbuster. It was just sort of a silly little movie that was probably going to be forgotten, and it just became it connected with people, or people connected with the story and the characters and the movie as a whole, and it just kind of came out of nowhere. Star Wars was the same thing. Like, they didn't expect it to really be anything other than it's a movie. Like, and then people just were like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing!" So then they do sequels, and they become just this big pop culture phenomenon thing that now everybody knows about and everybody is excited for. So then when they tried to do the prequels, they were like, "Okay, now we've got to make this big and splashy," and it felt so. And then I saw the prequels. I mean, even because I'd seen the special edition came out in '97, and then Phantom Menace came out in '99, and I was like, okay, it's fine, but I would still go back home and I would watch the original trilogy we had on VHS. I'm like, this is what I want to watch, and this is what I want to see. And like, I went and saw the other prequels in theaters, but it just was missing that charm and that connection. And I didn't understand it at the time because I was too young and I didn't get it, and I wasn't immersed in storytelling and film and as I am now. I mean, and there's probably people who are way better than this than I am, but I mean, and now I've learned how to critique story and literature and things, and I'm like, yeah, the original trilogy that had that human connection, whereas the prequels really didn't. And it wasn't like I was upset about it or anything. Like, I still liked it. It was still Star Wars. It was like, it just wasn't that little spark. And I'm kind of hoping, and everything I've seen so far confirms that this is how it's going to be. The Episode 7 is going to have that spark that made the original trilogy so good and so relatable. You could connect to it. And it wasn't all just space battles and monsters and the Force and this and that. It was about the people and the characters. The rest of that stuff is just window dressing. That's how I look at it. But this is how this new universe is how people connect with their world and everything. So I kind of think it's not that I hate the prequels. I mean, there's still some good there. There's also a lot of missed opportunity. And so I'm kind of thinking that, I mean, there's no reason to go back and ever redo a prequel series again. It's like, let's just move forward and stay within the universe and expand the universe as much as you can, or as much as you want to, as long as it's viable and there's interest there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of feeling on the whole thing. I wouldn't call myself a super fan, but I still love it.
Oh, yeah.
Chauncey could probably super fan me under the table.
Oh, yes. And we'll have this. Yeah, we'll get more into the movies and all that, and Chauncey can show us just how big of a fan he is when we talk about Star Wars later in the year, leading up to episode 7.
I like hearing people talk about the things that they love and fanboy or fangirl out of them. It's fun.
Oh yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah. You thought he loved Back to the Future? Wait till we get him on and talk Star Wars. Anyway,
fun shall be had.
Yeah. So if the Star Wars panel wasn't big enough with JJ and like all the big all these names from the cast and all that, if it in the this nice behind the scenes video and all that, if that wasn't enough, Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Disney, whoever decided to do this, decided that they needed to drop the mic and raise the bar really high. So they finish up the panel, and Chris Hardwick says, okay, well, we're getting done here. We have one last surprise. Everyone here in Hall H, with your little wristband that says you're allowed into Hall H for the Star Wars panel and all that, we're all going to get up and go out the door and walk a few blocks for a concert. They proceeded to go over by the bay to a venue where they were treated to the music of Star Wars, courtesy of the San Diego Symphony. Complete with video introduction from John Williams, because he said he couldn't be there because he's busy working on the movie. The cast was there. They brought the cast over. They gave everyone lightsabers. proceeded to play the music from the movies with live orchestra, with clips from the movies on a giant screen, and then ended with fireworks.
Oh my gosh, it's like Disney came to San Diego.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's worth going to San Diego for. But then you have to actually get in Hall H to get to that thing.
Yeah, so the people that camped out for the panel and, you know, got into Hall H on Saturday and proceeded to sit through all the other panels, knowing that Lucasfilm was the last one of the day, it paid off. Their patience paid off. But yeah, like we were watching the on the Nerdist, they were live blogging, and we were reading as it refreshed, and at the bottom it said, Chris Hardwick says, one last surprise, everyone in the hall is going to get treated to a concert. Like, okay. And then of course they go to that, and we have to wait till they post something on the internet afterwards, and I think it was the Nerdist. No, it was IO9 that's got a write-up about it, and they talk about it, and I'm just reading this like, holy crap! Like, okay, you just took, like, most people would have been happy with, like, I don't know, like, posters or some sort of swag or something, but no, how about a private concert with a live orchestra complete with fireworks? I can't even. No.
I can't even eat. I lost all the evens I can.
Yeah. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Someone at Disney was like, okay, well, we're going to be hosting this panel at San Diego Comic-Con. It's kind of a big deal. Well, we don't want to reveal too much of the movie because, we have our own convention coming up next month. So we want to hold back a little for our own thing, but what else can we do? Like music and fireworks.
Live John Williams. Except John Williams isn't there, but have a video of him anyway. But still, live John Williams music.
Yeah.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Wow.
So there's like drop the mic and just walk away. Sorry. Anything.
Which is probably what they did.
Yeah. Anything that. So, like, the bar now for panels in San Diego has now just been set so high.
It's everybody, go home.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Yep. Sorry.
Give up and go home, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. That just... That was the crowning jewel, I think, of the entire weekend. So I just... Again, I'm not that big of a Star Wars fan, but I love the music, and that probably would have, I would have plotzed.
Yeah.
I would have plotzed.
John Williams is just, that's good stuff right there.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Classic.
Yeah. So, and that's all she wrote, folks, for San Diego Comic. Like, what else can you do after that?
Concerned, yes. And like we said, this is like drinking from the fire hose.
Oh yeah.
There's gonna be more stuff coming down the pipe.
Oh yeah.
That we didn't see, and then we'll post it to Facebook and wherever else that we are located
Absolutely.
on social media.
Yeah. Yes.
Or if you want to send it to us and post it to our Facebook page and make us aware of it, then we will by all means do so.
Yeah.
And you can do that at. You can find all of our links to everything where we are at the 5ish Fangirls podcast.blogspot.com. You will find links to all of our places like Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, and we're on iTunes. And leave us a review there, and then also subscribe to us if you can on Patreon. Mm-hmm. That helps support the show. So anyway, that's all of our goodies, and keep an eye on Facebook and stuff for our further plans of Star Wars with friends and whatever else we're doing. And send us feedback if you have anything you want to say, or an opinion or thoughts that you want to have read out on the show. We will gladly do that, unless it's too mean. But nobody's been mean yet. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's all us, and San Diego Comic-Con, and oh wow, I just from being at home, I think I'm exhausted from looking at all of it, and there's more to come.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, things will just, little interviews and tidbits and things I just flat out miss. They're gonna
I mean,
cross my path.
there's more trailers that were shown but haven't been put out on the internet yet. You know, videos from panels that haven't been released yet. So yeah, there's
stuff
more
that we just didn't even talk about just because time and space constraints that we have. So.
Yeah, we tried to touch on the stuff that's relevant to, you know, like our most prevalent fandoms, I guess, if you want to call it that.
The ones that we care about the most. Not that we don't care about other things, but those are the big ones that we talk about a lot. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, whew, Fandom Christmas.
We have been very good little fangirls this year, and Fandom Christmas was good to us.
Yeah. Fandom Santa was very.
We were all on a nice list.
Yep. He was.
Yeah, I might
very
make
giving.
a blog post about the panel that Matt Smith was on.
Yeah.
Because he's in like 2 zombie movies that are coming up, and both of them were on like in the same time block.
Is he
like? What?
I was gonna ask, is he in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, or is that something else I'm thinking of?
Yes, he is. That was one of the movies being talked about at this panel. The other was Patient Zero.
Okay, because you said zombies, and I'm like, I bet you it's Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, but I had to check.
Yeah. So he was there for that, and then Patient Zero, where he's like one of the main characters. So,
which every time I see something about that movie, all I could think of is Prisoner Zero, which Matt Smith, the 11th Hour.
Yep, I keep thinking that too, and I'm just like, wait, that's
Patient
not it.
Zero refers to like the first person who's infected with a particular illness.
Yeah.
That's what it's talking about.
Yeah, but it makes me think of Prisoner Zero and the fact that Matt Smith, that was the 11th Hour, Matt Smith's first episode.
Yep. If you want to go there, then...
Yeah. I went there. I'm sorry.
I'm sure we're not the only ones. I'm sure there's like fan art or something out there of making that connection, a meme or something. Anyway.
Oh my.
Well.
My brain.
Yeah, my brain too. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So we probably ought to.
It's a lot to take. It's a lot to take in. Yeah. Alrighty. We lost.
But it's all been good.
Yeah. We'll with that we'll sign off. We lost. Yeah. We lost Brittany a little bit ago, but she says bye.
That's okay. She says hi and bye.
Yeah.
And signing off from Salt Lake City. This is Chrissy saying goodnight.
This is Howard saying good evening.
Mitch saying goodnight from Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel from Indianapolis, Indiana. Just a reminder, I am your landlady, not a plot device. You have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.